Hey, Phoebe. Um, my question is, do you ever feel like everyone thinks you're best friends? Like everyone in your life thinks you're besties when maybe you don't feel that way?
I think I potentially suffer from it in the other direction as well. Hi, I'm Phoebe.
Hi, I'm Jacque.
And welcome to Do You Ever Feel Like?
Where we ask the questions that everyone's thinking and no one's answering.
Fuck, is this 1 o'clock on the dot? I've literally never been on time for anything in my entire life.
I know. This is so bizarre. It's happening. It's happening. We're getting better at it.
Are we?
Yes, we are. We're getting better at it. We are.
Maybe you are. I feel like I'm like,
no.
I don't know. I don't know. Like I was saying to you, I don't understand why I have the skills that I do, but I do, and I don't like it.
Yeah. I mean, just because you know how to do something doesn't mean you should do it.
My goal is to stop. I actually have a goal this year. Like I want to I kind of want to stop like growing and like just do the things like I want to stop buying stuff.
Yeah.
That's going to make me like be more. I just want to take a break from like a year. Just like a year.
Yeah.
Like only do
it's
therapy.
So funny that you said that. Oh gosh. Here we go. Here we are. Here we are.
I hit record and here it goes.
Here it goes. Jacque and I, after this thing, which like is taking like a lot.
This thing, your wedding.
This thing that we're doing. This last week, as I've been talking to people, I'm like, I just want it to be chill. I just want it to be chill. And I'm yelling at people, being
and I'm like, I literally don't care.
I'm like, this is not a big deal. Everybody stop it. Like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like yelling at these vendors, being like, I just want it to feel chill.
I don't think you're the first or last white woman to ever yell at a wedding vendor. I just want to be chill.
I'm like, I don't care. I just want it to feel chill. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm like, embodiment. What is that? What? Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
Yeah, for real. I had like the shittest day yesterday. Like so much shit came flying at my face, but I just like caught it all. Like it didn't get me. I was just like zip, 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 zip. And at the end of the day, Simon turned to me. He's like, "Are you all right?" And I was like, "I'm fucking solid as a rock, bro. I'm great."
That's great. Oh my God. I'm fucking
great.
The dream.
Yeah, I killed it.
The dream.
That's what I mean.
That's amazing.
I just kind of want to like be. I think my therapist taking 2 months off actually kind of was like a funny like help that way, because there was like a handful of times over 4 or 6 weeks that I was like, well, I don't have somebody to like help me clean this up.
Yeah.
So I gotta keep it together. Like I gotta do the thing. Like I gotta like work it out, baby. Like kind of thing. And I think it's like really made me like have to show up in like my relationships. Well, okay, your question today, but like in my relationships in like a very honest way, because I just don't have anywhere else to go with it. And also I can't lose my shit because I don't have anywhere else to go with it, So it's like I got to show up like in this sticky spot and just be who I am and do all the things that I've been saying I've wanted for years. For years and years, and be like, work it out, bitch.
Yeah. Jacque and I had this plan. We had this like trajectory of like, oh, we're going to move into like the next place we move is going to be, you know, the place, and it's going to be pretty, and it's going to have a whole kitchen. It's going to have the 2 bedrooms and like all this stuff. And honestly, like, we're both feeling very minimal. Like, we're like, do we move into a studio apartment?
Yeah.
Do we spend like no money on our living expenses like after next year? Like, and just do that. And like, do we not want for a year? You know what I mean? And just see what happens. Like,
I love that.
The only thing that we're thinking of is like doing our honeymoon and like making like that's it.
Yeah.
Like, no, just like be here, deal with our lives, be adults, file that thing, get a will. Like,
yeah, I love that.
Like, get ready, like hunker down in a way and like work for like a year and like get ready, but like work in like a way that's not like, you know?
I know.
That's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling like, you know, like up-leveling.
Yeah.
I hate that term, but like.
Well, but I think it's being like honest about what you actually want to, because I think so often I really feel this like as a woman in the world, like kind of feeling bamboozled into like being told I'm supposed to feel a certain way about things. And then all of a sudden I've like, and reaching this point where you're like, what the I've been walking towards this thing. I don't even think I want it.
Exactly. Or like, do I actually care about that? Or do I care about it because everyone else seems to care about it? And do they actually care about it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like simple. I like want to be more simple.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah.
Do we, like, this is what I'm saying. It's like, just because, like, you know, it's down to, we're going to edit all this out because I sound like a lunatic, but when it's down to like this idea of, for example, Jacque works better when he's out of the house, right? So it's like, why do we need, like literally he works better when he's at the office. He would work better in a workspace. Yeah. So like, why do we need to have 2 bedrooms? Like, what do we do? Like, why, like, do we just think that that's the next thing for a baby or a family? Like, why?
Yeah. Well, because you're told to, like, I think there's like this really funny thing, and like, you know, I think of it as like a movement cue, but like people say take up space, and it's like, okay, what are you going to do with that space then?
Yes. And you know
like,
what I don't
want? To take up space to what end? Like, that's just.
Exactly. To what degree? And I don't like, my dog is staring at a light reflection on the ceiling and barking at it. A shadow. And barking at it. That's what's happening right now.
I fucking hate when they pull that shit. Like, what do you see? What's there? Who's here?
Do they pull that shit? Or is it just this neurotic dog that I have? Or is this what all dogs do? Because he saw his shadow on the wall of the coffee shop this morning and lunged at it. I was like, that's not another dog. That's you. Like, what is this dog? Like, what is going on?
Don't even get me started on the dog. Don't even get me started on the dogs today.
Honey, it's literally light on the ceiling. Oh my God, I've got to deal with it.
Yeah. No, go like, rationalize with that being.
And I keep saying I don't want to end up like my mother. And my mom has an emotional support little dog named Bits.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with Bits.
And has like so much stuff from living in, it's pulling it around here, from living in like so many homes that are huge that have like, why do you need like 7 different colors of that fake wreath to hang on a door? Like, what is that? And my whole life I've been like opposite of this. But then I'm like getting in this point in my 30s where I'm like, or my like late 20s, 30s where I'm like, oh, a house. Oh, another dog. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Like more money, more space, more da-da-da. And it's like, what is this? What is this?
I'm rewatching White Lotus again.
Yes.
And
wow, what a rewatch.
Yeah, I mean, I've been kind of like bored. We didn't have like a thing to watch together, so I was like, this is classic,
great,
when it came out like a year ago. But I also fucking love Mike White. Okay, I actually don't know if you know this about me. Do you know I love Survivor?
Yes,
I love Survivor.
You've told me that.
I love School of Rock. Those are like two things I love. Mike White has participated deeply in both of those things.
Yes.
But I'm rewatching White Lotus. I'm just going on my Mike White tangent.
Great.
For a second.
Okay.
I just love a bisexual man on a beach. What can I say? But anyway, the like scene of Molly Shannon sitting there going like money, 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 like these horrible like rich white people. And like that's what I think of. And I think it's like this, like I was saying, it's like this march towards this thing that we're all told. And I think it's so funny. I see it like, not like these, contradictions can't live together at the same time or anything like that. But I see it in like, my friends that are building different lives for themselves. And then we just shove ourselves back in the binary in like this very funny, weird way. And it's like, wait a second. I thought we were doing things differently. So what's going on here? Like, what's the thing? And it's like, and I don't, it's because it's so contagious. Like it's a trap, right?
Yes.
It's like the function of these things. But it's just like, wait a second. I know, like I'm annoyed like with renting right now because it's frustrating.
Yeah.
But then I look at buying a house. I'm like, well, I don't want to fucking do that either. So,
right? It's so strange because I have it's really fun. Whatever. We don't talk about this. Let's I don't know. Never mind.
Do you want to talk about the podcast?
Great. Let's do
the podcast. We launched a podcast.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. The podcast. Yes. The one we're on right now. Yes. We launched a podcast. Yes.
What do you think I meant?
I don't know. I was like, oh, what podcast?
Oh, sure. I'll listen to Meghan Markle.
I'm like, oh, yeah. Please. Let's talk about divas or whatever. Yeah. Sorry. Anyways.
Our podcast. We put it out in the world.
How's it going?
Out to the world. It's like this is a funny thing to make. I make a lot of stuff. I've never made anything like this.
It's a funny thing to make.
I made a lot of stuff. And this is like a whole other, it's not even like it's more work. I mean, there are a lot of work, but that's not the thing that really shocked me. I think it's I don't know. It's a funny, I think what's funny about it, maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'll have different feelings, but what I think I'm discovering is it still gets, we've put it out into the world, but it still gets created between us. And then it gets shipped out. And it's not like this creation where you're not like creating behind the scenes and then it goes out. It's like this constant back and forth. And like that's a funny relationship to have with your thing, actually. I don't think I've ever you're like, I don't know, it's like this like infinity loop. Like back and forth.
Yeah. And they're all kind of like in communication with each other. We are in communication with people listening. Yeah. It is. It's interesting. I mean, I think the idea that, I don't know, like I think we all struggle with like, who am I to be saying stuff, right? Like, who am I to blank? And I don't know. I just feel some sense of relief in this medium.
Yes.
We can just like fuck around and be friends, and then like something will come of it. You know what I mean? Like, or show up messy, show up not knowing what you want to talk about, show up and fuck a word up, show up and not know whatever, which is really the motto of, I think, for everything. But there's something about podcasting that I think really like serves the messy like human experience happening in real time.
Next week. Like,
exactly.
This only exists for, for sure people go back and listen to stuff, but it really only exists for a week, right? Because then there's another one.
Right. it's a huge relief, I think.
Yeah.
In a way.
Mm-hmm.
Not that there's not responsibility, because there's a lot of responsibility, but
yeah.
Yeah.
But it feels like a little bit less pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what I thought it was going to be.
Me neither.
That's for certain. And I don't remember if we talked about this in a fated audio corruption episode that won't happen. I think that's like a medallion though. That's like a check mark, like in producing and making something.
Yes.
Like, didn't work.
Oh, we talked for an hour and a half.
And none of it's gone. It's
gone. That was so funny because there were so many things that Spirit was coming in and saying, like, do not do this right now. And we were just like, no, we're going to do this. 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 And we were marching forward. And then whatever, right? Spirit, God, blah, 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 literally knocks my mic down in the middle of us recording.
That's right. Yeah.
Like it fell down.
You're
and
so right.
There were all these signs that were like, what are you doing? Like, stop trying to make this
fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Not today.
You're
not today.
So right.
And we were just like not listening.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyways, we recorded last week. It didn't happen. We lost all of it. Moving on. But yeah, it did. It felt like a rite of passage of the podcasting space. To like have a whole episode that is gone in the ether wherever, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know where you were going, but I took it somewhere else.
I don't remember where I was going either. I just refuse to be kind of irritated by any of those things. I guess that's what I mean about the process being. It's like it's both in process and being consumed at the same time. It's like a spaghetti noodle. We're like making the noodle and the people are slurping.
Yes. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
And it's just, I guess it's a funny thing to think on. Or I was going to say, I don't know what I thought it was going to be. And what I was going to say, I think maybe we talked about this last week. But like, I don't know when we were gonna. I don't know what I thought it was gonna be. I don't know when we started making this for real. I know, like, I just don't know, like, when concrete conversations started happening, and I think the thing that feels nice about like just being able to show up is like it doesn't feel expensive. Like it doesn't feel like yes, I'm talking with my friend, but also like we are making something together, and I certainly. As we've seen, we both certainly self-edit. And there are for certain things last week that I was like, that's not going out into the world.
Yeah. Yes.
I do have some boundaries. And this is why this question is so good today. And I can't remember. I keep losing my thoughts. But it's a funny thing to make. It's just a funny thing to make. Is my thought for now.
Yeah, I think it's going well. It's going fine. It's going well. You know, people ask me.
It's very excited to see. Like, it's exciting to see people get excited now too.
Yeah,
you know?
It's like, sweet.
Yeah. People asking about it. I don't think I told you this. I was telling my friend Heidi. I was like, oh, I'm going to go see my friend Jacque later. Like. She's what I started the podcast with. And she was like, wait, you guys have never met in person? I was like, no. And she started crying. She was like, that's so cute.
I know. It's so funny.
I know. So cute. Yeah. We're so cute.
I think we're so cute, or we're insane. Like, or
insane.
We are bonkers.
Like, literally insane. I mean.
Or both.
This is a whole other thing, but it's like I was realizing that the other day. I'm like, it's one thing to go and see somebody, you know, an internet friend. It's a whole other thing to walk into a room full of their people and be like, hi, I'm here now too. welcome. And like I said, I have some sort of sickness inside of me that's like not nervous about that, but like it just didn't occur to me. It didn't occur to me that is strange.
Yeah. Oh, no. Totally.
Because I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Cool. See you then.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and like I think I don't know how much of this is going to end up in the episode. I feel like we're self-editing as we go here, but I think like that whole thing, whatever, when we meet in real life, blah, blah, blah. But I think I like knew it was funny when we both like did our newsletters or whatever, and we sent out the trailer, and you had said, I never would have thought that like an Instagram follow would lead to something like this. And it's so funny because I knew, like I followed you and I was like, there's something, like I'm supposed to know this person. Like I truly seriously. And I've said this before on the pod and I will say it again. I made a whole business to meet Phoebe. And like I think that's so true. And I think it's like, so it feels very magical to me. That was a dog toy that just was beeping. It feels very magical to me to have this like happen because I there's just a knowing that that's all.
No making
Love
me
you.
Cry. I told you I put eyeliner on today.
Anyways, we have a podcast. Thanks for listening, all. Here we are.
It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. I wrote that today, actually, for the first time down. I was like, Phoebe is a blah, 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 and podcaster.
Oh, shit. Yes.
I know.
Oh, my gosh. We are podcasters.
We're podcasters.
Wow.
Pretty fun. Pretty fun.
Yay.
Pretty fun. Okay. Tell me about your question.
Do you ever feel like everyone thinks you're best friends? Like everyone in your life thinks you're besties when like maybe you don't feel that way?
I think I potentially suffer from it in the other direction as well. Because yes.
Oh,
for
sure.
Also, I need to stop calling strangers on the street my friend. I need to not call strangers on the street my friend.
All part of this.
You are not my friend. Okay, tell me more about this.
I don't know. I think what this ultimately comes down to in this conversation is boundaries.
Yeah.
And because these things work in all different ways, right? Like when we talk about literally colloquially using that term, colloquially? Sure. Colloquially? Thank you. Using that term. Like people say, I mean, I said it all the time when I was on the internet. Hi, friends. Hey, friend.
Yeah.
Hey, da-da-da-da.
My emails start that way.
Me too. Or maybe I changed it to hi there. I can't, whatever. Friends. We're all friends. Like we teach little children, like now it's very much a thing now, which I don't think it was a thing before, but now in this like trying to be more gender neutral world, right? Of like that person is a friend on the playground. Instead of just a person or whatever, right? Or like there's it's very gray, all this stuff when we speak from like a language perspective. And then also if you add all the other things in around relationship too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, for example, the internet. I think we all feel way closer to people than we actually are. Because we're seeing the everyday of their lives.
Yeah.
So like, how do all these things contribute to this? Because I know that I am not alone in this feeling.
Yeah.
Of why is it that the people around me feel closer to me than I feel to them?
Yeah.
And or like you were saying, the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Which is like, I thought I was closer to somebody than maybe I am.
I don't
Is this
even know
because
if
we're
it's
all
like,
just boundaryless? I don't know.
I don't even know if it's like closeness even factors into it for me because I say the opposite of this. I think I have the opposite of this. Well, I will say yes, like yes, yes, I've very much experienced that. And also, I very much experienced that like because of the work that I do, especially when I was working, like I was teaching 4 to 5 times a week in a like Pilates studio. And like, you know, when you're doing burpees, when you're sweating with the people, when you've got like the disco lights going, like, and I've had this experience too. Like, you know, we can talk as much as we want about like removing hierarchy from these situations, but it's a thing. It's a feeling. It's a thing. People feel connected to you. And so I took that responsibility really seriously, you know, and I was really mindful of the things that I shared while I was teaching. And, you know, even when I would go and take classes at the studio that I was teaching at, I was like really careful, not in a way that I was like, you know, protecting myself, but like protecting other people's experience, to be honest. Like that's important to me. And but then then at the same time, you know, I would talk about my clients and students. I'd be like, oh, a friend of mine does this. Or, you know, I'd see them on the streets, and you know, my mom always says, it's very funny because my mom is very much the same way, and I'm very much her daughter. She has this little like game she likes to play when we're out. She goes like, who the first person to spot somebody that they know wins. Is like a game that she plays. We have played this game in the middle of buttfuck nowhere, Australia, and she won. She is ridiculous. I call her like the mayor of the unofficial mayor of the city that we live in. Because it's just ridiculous. So she says to me all the time, she's like, oh, how do you know this person? I go, oh, they're a friend of mine.
Yes.
Are they?
Yes.
Are they a friend of mine? Or are they somebody that bought something from me once? Are they somebody that I see at events often? I don't fucking know what's going on with their life. They don't know what's going on with mine. And like, you know, sure, friend is maybe a nice word to use, but like, I don't know if that's fair for anybody. And like, why do I have to ascribe this like closeness? You know, like that's a lot of responsibility I'm putting on somebody all of a sudden, actually. My friend.
Yes. Yes.
Am I calling you if my car's breaking down? I don't think so.
Exactly. Yes. And I'm like, this is what I think you're so right that the participation in that, right?
Yeah.
Like the, you know, coming from your end means that like, of course, it's only going to be received. It's only going to come back one kind of way, which is like, oh, I was not under the impression that we were besties, but I guess we are, because I'm like, I think there is responsibility in that, right? When I ask this question, I think sometimes this question can be perceived as like, oh, like you must think so highly of yourself or whatever, that everyone is around you like wanting to be besties. But it's like, no, like I'm doing something in this. I'm responsible for this too.
Absolutely.
Like I'm feeding into this, and there's something that I get from this, right? Like there's something
yeah, and I think that actually that attitude I would maybe say is like, you know, as somebody who when you know, whether it's like, you know, whether it's coaching, whether it's like in theater world, I think it's like when there is some sort of hierarchy or perceived hierarchy, I think it's like a really important question to ask yourself, because the alternative is cult leader, where and like we've seen the effects of that kind of stuff over like played out the last couple of, I mean, not like this is a new idea, but over the last couple of years, you know? And like, so I think, you know, sure, maybe we can call it narcissism or something like that, but I actually think it's like an extremely responsible thing to be doing.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Of taking temperature.
Yeah.
Of like, why
and again,
is it
responsibility?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I mean, I find myself often being like, why does this person expect this from me? Or why is this person bringing this to me? Or like, what's going on? And I come up against this a lot of like, oh wow, like there's something that's been established here that I didn't realize was established. And that's, I've been really looking at that lately. And I don't know what happens in friendship, but I think I don't know what happens in friendship. I literally don't. And I think we could have a whole conversation about what is friendship, right?
Oh yeah,
but
for sure.
Like it's a huge thing. But I think something starts to happen like now that we're like getting older, whatever, right? Where you start to take like inventory and stock of like the people in your life, and you're like, ooh, like, what's going on here? Is this a trauma bond? Is this like, I was friends with this person at one point when I was totally different, but now I'm like these things evolve, they change, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so maybe that's where this is coming from, like right now in my life.
Well,
asking
it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of, I think I saw something the other day that friendships, like the average friendship is like 7 to 10 years. And I was like, that checks out.
Yeah.
That checks out because like you're saying, like the end of your 20s, early 30s, like, the friends that you had when you, like the new friends that you got when you got to university and like, you're like beginning of your adult life, you're like, I'm a completely different person than I was 10 years ago.
Yes.
Of course you would be.
Of course.
And I don't know. Okay. This is a whole other thing I might go on. Do you have any friends that you've known since you were like 5 that you're like close with still?
Yeah.
Jacqueline's nodding her head. Yeah. Okay. I think that is not like, I don't have any judgments around it, but like I think of the people that I was like really, really, really good friends with when I was 5. And they're still in my life in some sort of capacity, but not at the extent that all of my best friends that I've had throughout my life, I mean, a handful of them, I don't talk to me anymore.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm always so fascinated by how people manage to keep these relationships through these giant life changes.
Yes.
Like that's a thing. That's a thing.
Yeah.
Are you talking about that?
Yes. Yeah, totally. I mean, I think the only way to is to talk. Like I have friendships, true friendships that are long lasting in that way. But it wasn't until recently that I was like, should we be talking about this? Right?
Yeah.
I think with my friend who I've known my whole life, I like, there is an understanding in our relationship of this is going to ebb and flow and change, and we're always there, but like we're going to be different,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know, like this is something that I think a lot of whatever, late 20s, 30 something, whoever. I mean, not even in that age group. A lot of people can relate to.
Well, it's funny you say that too, because I remember complaining about my friend group once, like in therapy, and being like, I feel so stupid, like talking about this in therapy. Like, this is not a thing. Like, this is just like a dumb little thing. I feel like an idiot talking about this. And she was like, I have an 80-year-old client who has the exact same conversation with me constantly. Like, she is like talking shit about her friend group, like down at, the pub or whatever.
Right.
So I do think it's like, I think it's maybe one of those moments where like your life is changing, like once again. And then you will have other life-changing moments again,
Yes. I feel like this kind of idea.
We'll talk about this in our 40s. We'll talk about this in our 50s.
Oh,
Podcast episode 2000 and whatever.
Yeah. Because I mean, friendship is such a, it's huge. It's like a huge thing that I think we don't treat with the same, I don't know, fragility, respect, reverence, blah, 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 that we do other relationships.
Seriousness, I think.
Family, seriousness, yes.
Yeah.
Family, marriage,
respect.
we like, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And I just think like asking that question of like, ooh, why does everybody think I'm their best friend? Like, is in service of being a better friend,
I don't think that, and I think maybe part of why I've been thinking about this, like evaluating friendships like this, is like, I can't do anything if we aren't talking about, the big pink elephant in the room. Like, I simply can't. I cannot skirt around dynamics, functionality, systems at play, trauma. Like I can't.
Yes.
And I can't be in a relationship with somebody that isn't interested in getting down in the dirt with me. And like, you know, that's not any it's like doesn't have anything to do with like the goodness of either party, but like that's what I need. That's what I need. And I really struggle in my friendships where, you know, I feel like I'm walking into like the murky gray area and like I'm standing alone.
Yes.
Like, cause that's not being together. So it's like, and maybe that's why I say like, I feel like it's the other way around because I am expecting things from people and I'm not getting that. And like, okay, I gotta figure that out for myself then.
Yes. Yeah.
I gotta take that somewhere else. I gotta take that to somebody else. I gotta take it somewhere else. I gotta like that's not for that person, and that's okay. That's okay.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But it's like,
of course,
fucking painful, and like that's what you're saying. Like respect, like seriousness of like, you know, Simon and I talk about our relationship constantly. Like to a nauseating degree. We have
I understand.
Have check-ins before and after therapy together. And like,
yes.
And I just like, I always think that's the funny thing. It's like, we're going to go to couples therapy together to like get better at this and like have added, you know, 40 hours of labor.
I know, like
monthly to the schedule. And like, fuck, I wish there was like, is there a couples counselor doing this for therapy? Because like doing this for friendships? Because like, oh my God, I've said this on the pod. The people I'm dragging down to the office.
I know. Yeah, I've had that conversation with a few people in my life of like where it's just real conversation of like we would benefit from that, you and I together in that space.
Yeah.
And I want to have another tool, right? Like why are there's all these tools for staying married, but there's not all of these tools for staying in friendship with somebody. Like,
or like the fizzle out, like the fizzle out. I've had friend breakups before, like that are like, we're done. Friend breakups. And I really am like kind of hilariously thankful for those ones because they don't give me the like deep sadness. Like my high school best friend won't talk to me. Like and I mean speaking of, do you ever feel like people feel like they're your best friends? I was like, you are a really important person in my life. Like, I miss you. And they're like, I don't feel that way about you.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Here when you want to, if you ever, you know?
Right.
But like, yeah.
It's I don't know. It's so much more complicated.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it really needs to be. You know, like there's such a script or there's such an idea of like how to handle, I don't know, family members or like I was saying, like partnership, marriage, whatever. But it's like so much, it seems like it's so much more complicated or bigger or harder or whatever in friendship. And it's like, I don't know if it needs to be like, or why, like what.
Because the stakes maybe almost feel higher in a funny way. And maybe we won't admit that the stakes are higher actually.
Yeah.
Or are they higher? I don't know. Maybe they're people showing up on like the emotional plane together, but I don't think it's anybody recognizing like where you are, what you're doing, what it is.
Right. It's weird. It's like there's these understandings about relationship or family, right? There's these understandings about marriage of like this person is going to love you, you know, through all of your thick and thin, through all of your gross stuff. They're going to accept you, and they just have to love you and like, you know, all of these things, which like we could go on about and they're like not okay and complicated and whatever. But we don't approach friendship in the same way. We don't say, I will love you, you know, in the good and the bad, in sickness and in health, and blah, 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 blah. Like, you know, like there's like this, it's different in some way.
Yeah. I literally wrote today, in my Substack, like being able to sit across the table from somebody and like love them, like really love them, and be so utterly disappointed by them at the exact same time is like, I mean, this is what I'm saying when I've been doing the thing. Like I've been doing the shit.
Yes.
That I don't know if people are ready for that friendship sometimes because like, you know, I'm there to do that. And I think the going gets tough in friendship and like that's supposed to be the easy thing. And that's boring to me. That's boring to me.
Me too.
I'm ready to get down on the dirt, you know?
Me too. Me too. I feel like I've always been the weird friend that's like,
yeah.
I don't expect you to be perfect. We're not perfect. Like yell at me. If you're mad, you know what I mean?
Real.
Like tell me how you're feeling. Like I don't know. Now that doesn't mean I always handle it okay, or that I'm always prepared for it or whatever. But like this idea that like we're supposed to be perfect for each other. There's this incredibly high standard that we put on friendships that like we don't put on other relationships, family. Like again, I keep comparing it to these things. We don't. Obviously, a great listen is Call Your Girlfriend if you haven't.
I know.
Like,
I was thinking, have you ever read Big Friendship?
Yeah.
You have?
I have
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's absolutely that.
Yes.
Absolutely that.
And also like, I think there comes a point where you realize like, where like people's lives just change and friendship is no longer the most important thing. Right? Like friendship is very vital and very important in certain phases of life, right? And might come back around and be vital and important again. But like I'm realizing, I'm like, I don't have the bandwidth to keep up with all of these relationships. I don't have the bandwidth to be everyone's friend. I simply don't, you know, like, and it's just, it's too much for this point in life.
Yeah. A friend of mine just had a baby and I was like chatting and I was like, oh, have you like heard from so-and-so? And she was like, oh, like, no. Like they said like a congratulations, but like, you know, most people are like interested in the baby or whatever. And she's like, and I have a whole group of friends that aren't. And I kind of like made a face like, oh no. And she's like, that's fine. I don't need everyone to be interested in all parts of my life. Like, I don't care if you don't care. Like, I know you probably love my kid, but you don't need to like, you're not, it's my decision. Like, you don't need to be involved kind of thing. And I think that's exactly it. It's like, oh, I just, yeah, like I don't need closeness in all the ways. I like what you, I like what you're saying, kind of like, you know, vulnerability equating to closeness, because like my sickness is I can be vulnerable with the person at the bus stop.
Exactly.
The first person I told that my parents split up when I was in high school, like the next day at school, was somebody who I was like kind of acquaintances with in gym class. And like my best friend like turned around and said like, what are you talking about? You know, and it's like the function of I don't know, like is the function of friendship vulnerability all the time? Because like, I mean, like I'm vulnerable with my therapist. I don't want to be besties.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. That's like, exactly. And that's, yes. I think one of the things is like, oh yes. It's like what constitutes friendship, right? And it's going to be different for everybody. But something that I had written that you were in our notes for today, as I was like, I think that the reason that people might feel this way is because I'm willing to go there wherever there is in a first conversation. I'm not interested in going anywhere but what you're talking about, like the real shit with anybody. And it's like, oh, if I want authentic conversation and vulnerability and like in my life, does that then mean that I'm super close to everybody.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, like I'm carrying everyone's secrets then or something.
Yeah.
Or like just because I don't want to like talk about the weather. Like I you know, like
I'd rather die than talk about the weather.
I would rather all of a
sudden I have like
die.
Now I have like a probably inappropriate relationship with my barista.
Exactly. Exactly. And now I'm like, oh, like what part of this is healthy? What part of it isn't? What part of this is just who you are? Like, you know, like I think that this happens with people who are open books, who are outgoing, who don't want to just talk about the weather, who, you know, like are really interested in actually like being in human experience with people, right?
Yeah.
The vulnerability gets there real fast. I mean, I think a great example of this is showmances. And like when you're working on something with somebody, I always like bring out this example because like when you in the theater world, when you work on a show, it is like everybody is yeah, go ahead. You know,
like incest like is a great word for it. Like if I were to paint a picture of what it feels like, it's like a stack of naked bodies on top of each other.
Exactly. It's like vulnerability to the max. It's raw. It's dirty. It's like everybody's in there making this thing. We're all really committed to this thing. Oh, it's totally inappropriate. There's so much stuff happening. Like, and it almost, in some ways, can be managed in a healthy way and needs to be that way in order to make the thing really good, right? And then there's other ways where it's like not managed in a healthy way and then the thing is bad or whatever, right? But there's like this huge bonding over vulnerability, and then like the show ends and you never speak to these people again.
Yeah.
And they know your like deepest, darkest secrets.
Yeah, they know it because it was part of a warm-up one day.
Exactly, because we're all rolling on the ground together.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's something really beautiful about that of like, we just know what this is. Like it's like this is what this is. And then
contract
like I'm
for the next 6 months.
Contract. And then when I pass you on the street, we won't even look at each other.
Yeah.
And there's something really, really great about that. And there's no expectation. And I like feel very comfortable in it. What? What are you going to say? Say it.
Nothing. I'm just screaming. Like I'm just, because that's exactly it. Like that's exactly it. That's exactly it. I'm saying it's exactly it because I had that experience 2 weeks ago while I was getting coffee. I passed by somebody who I had to like I bared my soul to for like, you know, the 6 months that we were creating a thing. And we made eye contact and I went, I don't want to fucking say hello. I just simply don't want to. And I don't care to because it doesn't matter. Because I don't like doing things that don't feel genuine. And if me to say hello, I'd rather peel my fingernails off. Like I just don't care. I just don't care.
Yes. And it's like
okay.
Right. It's okay. It's like what there's this sense of closeness in that. And I'm like, is this the goal actually with everyone? Is this the goal? Is like is the unwritten contract?
We treat each other with a lot more respect if like that's when I'm having a shit ass day and I'm like, or you know, like sitting in traffic with the people and someone's being all hot and stressed. I'm like, you know, and my reaction wants to be like, fuck you. I'm like, maybe their mother died this morning. Like, or maybe they haven't talked to their mother in 30 years and they're like this every day. You know, like I think maybe if this was the goal, if we're like, your father abused you, nice to meet you, like exactly. I wonder if there was like a little bit more compassion that we would maybe, or patience that we could have, kindness.
Yes, there's like patience, space, kindness, like time to these relationships, and like taking away any of the expectations, right? Like I don't think that unconditional love is a thing, but I do think that we can be very like there can be an understanding of expectations, right? Or there can be a framework that then like lots of love can come from, you know?
Yeah.
And if we took away this idea of like what we think friendship should be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or anything. I mean, anything that we assume should be a way. Marriage should look like this. Friendship should look like this. Da 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 da. Right? Like, what are the possibilities?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What are the possibilities? And whatever's going to feel good for you and what you need, you know? That's always what I'm trying to remind myself of.
Yeah, I think the assumption.
Because I also go ahead.
Well, I think the assumption thing here is like pretty funny too, right? It's like assuming vulnerability equals closeness is I find the same thing or I don't know, being okay to talk about the weather. Like I find as somebody who, you know, is a woman that smiles and wears bright colors.
Oh my God.
People assume happiness. They assume like positivity. They assume I don't know, willingness to like listening.
Willingness.
Like the things people tell me.
Oh yes.
Are or like I don't know. Yeah.
Honestly, that's women. I mean, yes, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
The colorfulness and the smiliness and like the big bold earrings, like
I
whatever.
will say the smiliness like does not help me. It doesn't help me.
Yeah. But women walking around the world, there's certain assumptions made.
Yeah.
Or even assumption when at this point in time, at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday, I'm willing to bare my soul to you, person that I'm in relationship with.
Yeah.
But tomorrow at 12 p.m. on a Wednesday, I'm not.
Yeah.
And there's like this assumption that because at 10 o'clock on a Tuesday, I was in a state or I was a person who would blank, that means that's going to happen again.
It's constant.
Yeah, that there's a constant or there's a reliability or there's this assumption that like now because we shared that thing that means this, and this. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. Actually.
Yeah.
Like, or because I've known you as long that I've known you, there's like an assumption that it looks a certain way. Yeah. Or because that I just think, what are we doing to ourselves? Like, this is too much work.
It's a lot of work. And I think, I mean, like, what is our initial question? Everyone thinks you're besties. I've had to like really consciously, I noticed like I had to really consciously rein in who I was calling friend, as I've discussed. And then I was doing this weird hierarchy thing where I was like, people that were my friends, they were all best friend. And then the people that I was really, really close with were my best friend. And like
Yes. Yes, I'm going through this right now too.
Really what I have and all I need in life is probably 5 friends. Yeah. And then I'm done, I think. Yeah. And, you know, there's like, you know, 2 constants and like a couple of rotating probably, right?
Yeah.
And maybe like 2 I don't know. I'm just making this up off the top of my head. If I were to try to do this, I'd be like, I need more hands. Like,
oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, again, my therapist, star of this episode, I probably because she's been out for 2 months still. I have an appointment next week. Maybe I'll stop talking about her so much. But
therapists are people too.
Yeah. But she was
remember.
like, you can't call everyone your best friend. And I was like, why?
I know. Why? Why not?
But
why not? Because I'm mad when they call me their best friend. Like, for me, that's what it is. I'm like, right, I can't do this because then I'm mad at myself when there's expectation. You know, like I'm like, shit.
My God. You're calling me out. You're calling me out today. You're calling me out today. Oh my God.
Yeah, I also think there's this thing, like everyone's life is on like a platter with the internet. And I think this is a key thing too. Like if you're on Instagram and you're telling anybody about your life, I feel like we all think we know each other more than we actually do.
And it sounds so basic, but like we really got to remind ourselves of it. We really, 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 really got to remember you're seeing not even a minute probably.
Yes. Yes.
And I whole ass life.
Whole life. And I remember when I was on the internet and when I had a business.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I share like 5 seconds of a process or something or 5 seconds of an idea. And then all of a sudden, this is who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what everybody expects.
Mm-hmm.
And or people are coming to me like revealing their deepest, darkest souls. And I'm like secrets. And I'm like, whoa. Like because an ounce or 5 seconds of vulnerability in my life, like whatever.
Yeah.
What is that? And why do we believe we're best friends with celebrities and all these people? Like, why do we think we know them? Like, there's this whole thing that I think that I don't think the internet is really helping us make this whole thing lighter and not as much work either.
No, and I don't know what the answer is. I actually don't. And like, it's okay. So it's like, we've really got to remind ourselves of this like thing, but like also like, it's also it's how we consume something. It's like how we enjoy media. It's like, you know, like when we talked about our podcasting episode, it's like how we connect with people. I'm like, fuck, I love that. Fucking love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I just like, I guess it's really just like holding people's humanity, like holding and like allowing, you know, allowing space for people to be fucked up, like allowing people to fuck up and like, I don't know, it not being right. And like, if the goal is, and this comes back to like, if like the goal is long-term friendship, then
what's
it's like,
the goal?
Then it's like, I don't know. Yeah, we do this in relationships. We allow space for people to fuck up, and do some pretty horrific shit.
Yes.
Why? What are we doing here then? If that actually isn't the point of friendship, then what the fuck are we doing here?
I agree.
Why bother?
I agree.
Why are we talking about this?
Yes, I absolutely agree. And I also think, what I keep trying to remind myself of as I'm like sorting through all of this is like, you don't have to know exactly how you feel about somebody all the fucking time.
Yeah.
You know, like you don't have to have a clear idea of how you feel about someone all the time. That's impossible. And like, I don't have a clear idea of how I feel about Jacque all the time. Let me tell you, like, I do not, you know, like that.
Well, in that relationship, Simon gets called my roommate often. He gets demoted constantly. And then promoted again. But like there is a fluctuation, and I like, we got to be okay with like, no, I don't want to fucking talk to you right now. Because that doesn't sound like an interesting activity for me. Exactly. And like, I mean, really, this podcast is me being bored by many a thing.
But that's what I mean when I was like maybe this is just about boundaries, which is like the best way to you know, be in relationship with people is to respect their boundaries.
Yeah.
You know, and the best way for us to assume that we are in a like healthy relationship with them is for them to respect our boundaries and have it not mean anything, you know, like, and I think also I've been reminding myself of that. And I've also been reminding myself of like, you love who you love.
Yeah.
You know, like love is like, you love who you love, and it's a feeling. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's technically a feeling. We need to get some smart people on this podcast. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like, like loving, like it's not. It just is what it is. And I'm really kind of done beating myself up about who I care for.
I love that. I really love that, like, because you had said to me, and I couldn't even tell you what the specific friend drama was any longer, because like this is how it is, right? It made me. I don't remember what it was about, what the situation was, but I had something going on with a friend, and you know, in my mind, because I love to work in these binaries that I claim to throw out all the time, of like, well, this is it. Like either we march forth together or fuck you. And you had said to me, you're like, it sounds like you've got some feelings right now. Like you should just go and feel them. And I was like, right. Right.
Exactly.
Right. And I think maybe if I was having that problem in like, you know, with Simon or with a family member, or maybe with somebody who was like a little bit more, if I were to have this feeling, or if I were to have the situation with Simon, with a friend, like with family or with a friend that I maybe have more of a relationship, like I don't think I would forget about that. But because I have a feeling about a thing and like, yeah, I love who I love. And this person is like, I'm just, like I said, like I'm going to have to love you and be disappointed by you at the same time.
Exactly. That's what love is, to be like I, you know, there's what I'm saying, like the expectation that this is going to be perfect or, you know, you're not going to take a flawed human for everything they are, you know, like, you know, asterisk. We should
abuse.
say, right. Of course.
No. I'm like, talking about like,
right.
Whatever. I didn't get the fucking birthday greeting I wanted. Like
disappointed.
Like
exactly
disappointed. Like, oh, we are two messy human beings with complete oh my God. Just communication is so hilarious to me. This is just like a quick little example of how funny it is. Like how much I think we assume about other people.
Oh yeah.
Simon and I sleep on the left side of the bed. He sleeps on the right. We hang our towels up on, I hang my towel up, like we are oriented to each other. You know what I mean? We have sides. I sit on the same side of the couch. He like next to each other.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Like I go on the left. He goes on the right of whatever's going on.
Okay. We
have been together for over 10 years.
Yeah.
Just the other day, I went up to him and I said, do you know that this is my towel? He was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, my towel goes on the left. Your towel goes on the right. You go, like, I go on the left. You go on the right. And he was like, no idea. And I was like, okay. I had assumed that information and this, the way this is going. And I went, like, that's on me. That's on me because I didn't communicate my expectations of where the fuck I think the towel goes. And it's the exact same thing with friendships. Like, unless you are communicating what you want and need from another person, you are going to be disappointed. You're just going to be, because we're not mind, like nobody's a mind reader. And it's like the exact same thing. It's like,
it's the same thing.
One of my best friends, I'm going to call her out on the podcast, Sierra, because I don't think she'll ever fucking listen because she doesn't give a shit about the things that I do, which is fine, is like the worst texter before the plan. The worst texter before the plan. And I have adjusted my expectations to know that if I invite her over, she's going to show up when she shows up. And that's fine because we've been friends for 11, 12 years. And that's okay. That's okay. And I don't need that. I don't need that. Anyway, it's just assumptions. Fine. I think it comes down to boundaries and assumptions and flexibility.
Yes. And I think it's fine even without the caveat of, oh, because we've been friends for a long time. No, it's just fine.
Yeah.
Like, what are we as individuals?
I'm an evolved enough person to know that I don't need my friend to let me know when they're coming over to the house, or that, like, I know if I don't hear back it's because, like, I don't need that or, like, from that person. Because I take that to somewhere else where that need is met for me.
Yes. Like, what are we going to hang our hat on? Like, do you want to be pissed that you haven't heard from this person in 2 days? Or do you want to, like, go, like, have a slice of cake? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what do you want to do? Or do you want to go for a beautiful walk? Or do you want to go to the beach? Like, what are, like, you're responsible for yourself. Again, these are reminders.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not saying I'm queen at
There
any
is
of
no
this.
pedestal. There is no horse. There is absolutely no horse. Like none. Just putting it out there.
Yeah.
That essentially the podcast at this point is me reminding myself of my humanity.
Always.
Over and over again. Yes.
Always. Oh.
All right.
An episode where Jacque just calls me the fuck out for an hour. Cool.
You're not alone. If you're feeling this question of like, what is friendship? Why does everyone think they're closer to me? Why am I so close to so many people? All of these questions, you're not alone.
No.
And we absolutely have to get some folks on to chat about this conversation.
We're friendship experts. I'd like some statistics. I love a statistic.
Yeah.
Like a friendship researcher. And a couples therapist for friendships. And then, oh man, wow. I think I'd have a lot less friends just because I wouldn't have enough time. Maybe that's what I need. I need a couples therapist so I can sign up me and all my friends up and then get exhausted by all of them.
I'd be like, oh, never mind. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Thank you for listening to Do You Ever Feel Like?
Follow this chaos wherever you get your podcasts.
Our artwork is by Simon Peng. Do You Ever Feel Like is produced by Jacqueline Wills
and Phoebe Taylor. You can follow us on Instagram at doyoueverpod.
You can write to us at doyoueverpod@gmail.com. Okay.